Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video. We are at Copart. We have won another little car, something we haven't had before, Peugeot 108 I believe. Chris said, what do you think of that? I said, yep, definitely. Looks like a reasonable little smack in the front. I had a quick flick through online and all the bits are available, so we thought, yeah, we're going to have a bid on it. We had a bid on it and they let us win it. It wasn't on approval, it was pure sale, so we managed to... Sorry guys, one sec.
Sold! Your watch item is next on the block. High participation in the lane. Bonus time. Bonus time. Bonus time. Sold on approval.
Sorry about that guys, I actually got a little telling off there for not wearing a high vis. Normally as soon as I come through the gate I'll put it on, but I just forgot about it. Guy came over and said, mate, you need a high vis on or you got to leave, which is fair enough I suppose, but I've got it on now. Guys, I am just sitting here like I normally do. When we put a video out on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do leave that gap because Monday you get the majority of the comments and on the Tuesday it gives me time to catch up before the video goes out Wednesday. So I'm sitting here reading through them and I don't normally read them out. This is not sponsored at all, but I just think it's a good idea. Now someone sent me a message on the latest video. I've clicked on their name and it tells you how many messages they've left previously and across what videos. So I was just checking that it weren't a one-off, someone trying to get a basically just giving me an advert, but I've read through it and it sounds really interesting. So I've just had a look at their app as well. Hi guys, watch all of your videos religiously. We are car nuts just like you. The other day we was watching your video when you had to order a trailer to pick up the Transit because it was long wheelbase and wouldn't fit on your transporter. Well, we've just started up a new business and it's called rexq.com, REXQ.com. This is a new service to garages in the UK and it's very interesting. It is a new roadside rescue service, but it's like Uber. Now I just thought that this was quite interesting. It's all run on the mobile. Now before you start to think, oh, is this one of them adverts with a 10% discount or whatever, it's not. It's totally different. It's free to drivers and it's free to garages, and you download it from the App Store for free at rexq.com. You register for free and you don't pay anything until you get some work. And that's when I looked into it and then I read on. Then the guys at RexQ take 10% fee, so you add that fee to your charge. You set your own fees, what you want to charge, and it's that simple. If you have a garage or are a capable mechanic, you can jump start a car, change a spare wheel or collect fuel and put it into a customer's car. That's about 80% of the reasons drivers break down, which is true. Most new cars are pretty reliable. So you're running your own roadside rescue service. If you are a professional vehicle mover and you have a transporter or a trailer or a towing dolly, then you can transport cars on the app too. this is the way the rescue service is going forward. And I thought rexq.com, and I thought, yeah, they're about right. You don't have a yearly membership. You can literally go on there and people in your area can tender for the work. So if I wanted to go on there and register and there was people broke down local, I can actually go out and collect them in my truck, charge them and add their 10%. And I thought that that was a really good idea. So I am going to put their link in the description. Guys, here comes our car. Let's get that loaded. I had to get straight back from Copart, guys, so no more cutting in while we was there. I've just pulled up and showed Chris. It's all repairable. We'll be repairing it, but it is actually a lot more than what we expected. Now, when we flick through the pictures, you know, pictures do lie. We know that. We live in the real world. Everything looks mint on pictures, but genuinely, it's got quite a few little bits around it, this one. So, you've got a bit on the back bumper there. All right, that's not the end of the world, but it's got them all this side as well. So that's a whole rear bumper repaint. And then when you look down this side, I'll try and get it at an angle. It's quite bad, and you couldn't see any of that in the pictures. And it said front end damage, didn't say nothing about side. So we've got quite a nasty little dent there, scuff in the door. Actually, that is polishing off, wiping off. Scratches, so that door needs painting. This door, how cheap is a door, you know? We may put a door on it, may repair that dent, but you can see it there now. It's quite bad. So that door needs sorting and repainting. And then the front end is kind of what we was expecting. It is quite hard, but I've just opened the bonnet and it's not actually, it's pushed the bumper bar in and the rads, but it hasn't bent any of the chassis. So I think we're okay there. We're not going to know until we completely get it stripped out. But it's got a dead battery as well. I'm going to chuck the jump pack on it, get it unloaded, and we'll bring this one straight in the workshop, get it stripped out and see what we need. Another thing as well, guys, forgot to mention, it actually don't run and drive, so it's a non-runner. I forgot about that out there. I actually tried starting it, spins over fine, but there's no fuel pump, so that's probably going to have a fuel cut off. But regardless, Chris said we are probably better off getting everything out of the way before we plug it in and see if we can get that fuel cut off turned out. There's no airbag damage in this car, and it is quite a nice one. It's got those LED daytime running lights. Got the screen in it, air conditioning, multi-function steering wheel. And like I said, yeah, nice and tidy. What was the mileage, Chris? I've turned it off there. 32,000 miles. So should be quite a nice little car. Let's get that stripped out, see how bad it is behind it. And also, we'd like to get it running because although it doesn't weigh a lot, we don't want to be pushing it every time we want to work on it. Let's crack on. It's actually a lot more worse than it actually first looked. So this upright looks down here, this lower rad carrier part, this actually unbolts, so that's not a problem. We've got a slight twist in this one here, that will pull out, no problem at all. All of this here, Chris just said it's all over the place. I know they're quite far back on these anyway, but it really is all over the place. But once you strip it off, you can just see the extent of it. Aircon pipe all squashed. The damage has not hit the radiator, but it's actually hit the joint there, snapped it, ruined the condenser, The radiator behind it looks like that's all chopped through. That's no good. Lambda sensor there, that's all bent and cut. Then you've got alternator. The plug's actually smashed into the alternator, and it doesn't look like you can change the plug, so it's going to want an alternator. And still we haven't heard it run, so I think that's probably going to be enough for us to strip out and actually start making a list of parts, because really we want to get it fixed as quick as we can. And now we've got it down that far, we can see all of the damage. All of the damage is concentrated in this area here, so we're going to need front panel, lower panel, pair of radiators, alternator. The aircon pump actually missed, and if you look, there is just a little gap underneath it. Well, when we before we unbolted it, that lower panel was actually touching the aircon rad, so it's nice that's away. What should we do, Chris? We're going to concentrate on actually getting it running. We get it plugged in, see if we can find that fault. We'll move on and do that now, and I'll let you know how we get on. I'll jump in the car, guys. It's not sponsored, but Top Don did send us this diagnostic machine, and Chris said, Rob, it is about time we give that a bit of a mention. Chris had it plugged into that white Transit and cleared all the codes on it. You can do a regen on there. I had it plugged into Claire's Mercedes GLA this week. It had a lambda sensor fault, which turned out to be, we had to put a new one in. It took us quite a while, but right good little bit of kit. And so far with it, again, I can't get in depth. We haven't gone in depth, but so far with this, Chris, we're quite impressed, didn't we? Good little bit of kit. So I'll leave a link for it in the description down below. Let's see if we can get this running. So quite a bit of research there. Had it plugged in, done a full scan on the system, and nothing come up apart from a couple of little things like ABS, but nothing fuel related, nothing airbag related. So Chris has been through all the fuses at the front here, been through all these relays down here in this little box. Just can't see anything obvious, but where it has had a little smack there, we've just decided we're actually going to whip the radiators out and see if we can see any damage behind it. Both of the pins on the alternator was actually okay, so I've cut the wires back, just put a couple of connectors on there and actually even connected those up. But as soon as we turn the ignition on, no fuel pump buzzing and none when you spin it over. I expect some of you guys that have done Peugeots to be screaming at the screen right now saying check this, check that, but let's just get on and keep going through it. Chris has had to lay down underneath that dashboard. We've had to go onto Google and actually get a diagram for the wiring loom. There's a little fuse box up there, and believe it or not, there's probably in excess of 8 different fuses that says injection system. So Chris just went through every single one of them, and the very, very last fuse, which is a 20 amp, he's pulled it out and it is blown. So we're kind of hoping that that is going to resolve the issue, but bit tight in there, mate, eh? Very, very tight. I'm going to actually video Chris where he has to go back in now. And a bit uncomfortable. It is a small little car, but really, really awkward to do. But fingers crossed, with that blown, and that did say fuel pump, there's a good chance. Is it in?
They're too big.
Oh, are they? Oh, we haven't got one of them. Gonna have to. Oh, you found a spare earlier, didn't you? We get the spare out, plug that in and give it a whirl. We've got is a 30 amp in the spares under the bonnet, so we're going to give that a whirl. But I really wanted to put it in and actually see if it was a win or foul live once Chris had got it in there. Is it in? Still can't hear a buzzing. Try it once more.
See if it's popped again, shall I?
Yeah, definitely. That was a bit of a fail. We got that spare 30 out from under the bonnet, put that in there, Chris pulled it out and it had blown instantly. So you've now just had to actually nick one out of the heated rear wiper, rear screen, and you've disconnected. Just going to show the alternator. When I come round here, it was a little bit warm. It's still a little bit warm now. I may have got these round the wrong way, so I've just pulled them off. It's not required. And Chris has actually disconnected the lambda sensor.
Have a look at that oxygen sensor though.
Yeah, it's all, he reckons that's what it is, that oxygen sensor. It's touching the heat shield and it's cut through the wires, so he's put another 30 in there and he's going to give that a whirl. Yes, it's buzzing. Yes! Well done, mate. Perfect. That is it now. It is a runner. We've stripped it out. We know we've got a list. Chris is just about to type it all down. The list is up here in our heads. We're going to write it all down and then start ringing around, get some bits for it. But that's nice to hear it run. You reckon it was more the lambda sensor than the...
It's cut through. It's been
Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Oh yeah, it's actually touching the heat shield, isn't it? So it just shows you, you know, a little prang like that has hit that, and it just happened to trip out the fuel pump relay, which is a brilliant idea. I suppose we've probably been trying to find this problem. I think it's a bit over an hour. We had about half hour under the bonnet, and then that little tiny space where Chris has had to be. But yeah, definitely nice to hear it run. And when we pull it out the workshop in a minute, we're going to hear it drive. You're probably going to be watching this video on, when's this going to go out? Friday. And Chris has still got to finish the motorhome. So we're going to pull this out while we're waiting for bits and he can crack on with that. Chris just said to me, head straight down the yard and see if there's any bits for that Toyota Aygo. And while you're there, get a dipstick. He's seen it in the comments of the Astra. Everyone's saying, Rob, did you remember to get that dipstick? And no, I didn't. And that car it's actually going up for sale this weekend, so it'll be gone by the time you watch this video. He just looked at that alternator and said, on that alternator it says Toyota. And I just spoke to Mark here and he said the 108s, the C1s and the Aygos all share a lot of the parts. Chris also said that the radiators look Japanese. He said, so just go down. I'm not sure what that is. That's too old though, isn't it? But again, the radiator looks right. Looks very similar. Let's have a look at that alternator. Denso, it doesn't say Toyota on that one. But it does look the same. Maybe slightly different. But definitely worth having a look. We'll go for a Toyota Aygo because that's quite old. 61. What's that? 2011. Where's the Toyotas? There ain't much left of these Fiat 500s. I think I bought everything that was on them. Volkswagen, BMW, more Volkswagens, Toyota, here we go. I'll see if I can find one, guys, and I'll cut back in. I know you all quite like it down here. That's a bit mixed up there, because I was looking for some bits, some couple of little trims for that Astra that we took the front end off, and it's over there now. See it just there, and before it was right up there, wasn't it? So that's a mixture there, but that was normally all Minis, Vauxhalls and then Folds. Let's see if we can find some bits. Guys, we're definitely going to be able to find some of the bits. Toyota Aygo 2012. I've got a picture on my phone before I left. That radiator pack looks identical. It looks exactly the same. Even this plug up the top here looks the same. Rad hoses, yeah, everything looks fine. So we'll buy that rad pack out of it, definitely. Even the shape of those wings look very similar. They can't be the same, surely. The bonnets and the wings. That's normally what's different when they chop and change these cars. Headlight, bonnet, bumper and wings. But guys, even that looks the same. If anyone does know, before we start, yeah, I think that's all the same. Same bumper bar, same lower valance there. If anyone does know, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm not going to commit to buying these bits until I do a bit more research. I'm going to have a little look around for an alternator, but I think that is going to be where we get most of our parts off of this car. If I can't find one a bit later, I'm going to keep hunting through, but please, yeah, do put it in the comment section down below. Even that water bottle, that's definitely the same. Toyota and a Peugeot. I didn't know that they shared. I knew that the Citroens did and the Peugeots, but not the Toyotas. I'll keep hunting round. We can't go far in it, but before we go silly and start ordering and buying all bits for it, Chris did put the battery on charge while I was at Kent Auto's there. You'll all be pleased to know I did manage to get the dipstick for the Astra. So Chris just put the battery on charge. As soon as I left, he said, and it's taking a good charge. So he said, yeah, before we go silly and start buying bits, should we actually get it off the ramp and make sure that it does drive right? Because it was a no run and drive. I'm sure it is going to drive, but we'll try that out definitely first before we pull the trigger and buy all the bits. It goes nothing. I'm sure it'll be fine. It was driving all right when it crashed. 3-cylinder. Don't they sound funny? I can just never get used to it. Guys, we know it's got no water, but for a few seconds it is fine. It won't hurt it at all. Feels fine. Jobs are good, and then needs to get that out now and get that camper in. Not as long and not as in depth as we'd normally like to get, but I was actually going to pick that car up, park it up, and we was going to save it for a later date. But as usual, Chris was like, nah, let's get it stripped. Then we can start looking for the bits for it. We're quite optimistic about the parts down at Mark's on that Toyota Aygo. I sent Chris the picture of the radiator, and he was standing here looking at the one, and he said to me, get it, it's definitely the right one. But we don't want to buy it just in case. Even all the aircon pipes for that particular car, because the engine was missing, they was all inside the car, and when I've come back, they look exactly the same. So we have come up with a little bit of a plan. We're actually going to take the aircon pipes off that car, that's, sorry, over my shoulder, and what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to pop down there with the rad pack, maybe even the front bumper bar, the lower valance, the rad support, take the radiators as well, and even take the alternator, and actually match them up and make sure that they are exactly the same. Chris is really confident. He's like, definitely the right ones. Even the bonnet hinges look the same. The bonnet was miles different, and I did say that the bonnet, wings, headlights, front bumper, that's normally what they change when they swap them around. I remember years ago, the Mark III Fiestas, they made so many of them, and all the manufacturers have a limit of how many they can sell. And Mazda actually bought a lot of them and called them a Mazda 121. I'm sure some of you will remember that. And back in the older days, the Peugeot 106 and the Citroen Saxo, they was the same car ultimately. So we never know. I'm sure some of it is going to fit. So on a later date, I'll pop down there with all the bits and we'll match them up. And of course, like I said earlier, if any of you guys do know more than what we know about it, drop it in the comment section. We'd be really interested to know, because sometimes buying a different manufacturer, the parts work out cheaper. Somebody told me about the GLA that we've got. There is another model of car that carries all the same parts, which is really, really handy to know. So sorry guys, it's not a lovely, nice long one, but as usual, we do hope that you did enjoy it. And if you do, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it shows your appreciation. So many of you do keep reaching out to me about, Rob, what is that ratchet like that you use all the time? Guys, you see on that bit of time lapse, we've actually got one each now, me and Chris. I always said I couldn't be without it. I've got a new one. Chris has actually got my old one, and every time I see him using a ratchet now, he's using one of them. He's got quite used to it as well. So I will put the link for that in the description down below. Sorry, I know a lot of people asked and I have to keep sending them the link. So I will make sure that that is in the description for you. Don't forget, please like, subscribe and share. Check out the merchandise. The link is in the description, and we'll see you early next week in the next one.